Alright, I'm just going to be testing the volume. So just give me a few minutes or a few seconds. Alright, I'm just going to be testing the volume. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's start. Okay, so for today, expectations wise, I'm anticipating some sort of a seek and destroy, but ultimately I would like to see price trade into that daily fair value gap. Okay, we have a news event at 9:45. I believe that is a read for the news, so I would wait until that happens before I execute anything. Okay, in this session wise, I'm gonna be showing how I manage my drawdown. Okay, so of course, the first of all, I'm going to be reducing my leverage, which means I'm going to trade on the micro contracts, right? And I'm going to use NASDAQ. Okay, so predominantly, it's going to be on NASDAQ micros futures. Okay, right. So over here, I have annotated Asia, London, and New York AM. Okay, over here we can see that we have taken out Asia's high, we left the lows, we have London's low, and we have London's high. I don't really want to see London's low taken out before going into the daily fair value gap. I believe after sweeping these lows here, maybe we can overextend into this fair value gap. Okay, but yeah, I want these lows to be intact. Let's take a look at the 1 hour. I'm gonna keep this chart at 5. Look at the 1 hour on the micro because I don't really have annotations here. Okay, so 1 hour chart here. Okay, invalidation would be price trading below this BPR. Okay, invalidation for higher prices. H1 BPR low. Okay, and we have the consequent encroachment of this wick here. And right now, currently, we have a SMT on the 5 minutes. So that is interesting, with Nasdaq making a lower low right here. Okay, this candle, these two candles. Then look at ES, these two candles here. So ES is making higher lows. I would like to see displacement higher after taking out this low here. So we have consolidation for 2 quarters within the AM session. We might get a distribution at the 4th quarter here, which means 10:30 to 12. And if that's the case, I'm gonna miss the second half of the move because I'm only gonna limit my trading time frame within 9 to 10:30. Okay. Another thing to note is that we have SMTs on the highs as well. So as you can see right now, we have a low probability market. So it's better not to push too hard. Okay. Low probability markets are usually occurs when you have SMTs on both the highs and the lows. Right. So basically, we can say it's seek and destroy on the 1 minute or the lower time frames. One 14806 closing price 14806.25. Right. As long as it's below the consequent encroachment here of this week, I am bearish. Right. Does it need to get up here before another sell-off? It doesn't have to. Okay, ultimately I am looking for this on the weekly time frame, the 4th standard deviation. So in actual fact, I like the idea that it has closed right on the consequent encroachment, and you have ES on the weaker side. It can't even close above that 25% of this wick here. So let's see if it wants to run the sell stops down here. That is very possible. So right off the bat, you have you can see that I have conflicting analysis, but if that's the case, I will stick to my higher time frame bias. Okay, every time I have a conflicting analysis, I am gonna lean towards my higher time frame bias, which is now currently to the downside. Right, I'm still bearish on the higher time frames. Right, so let's take a look at ES. I just want to check 7:30 price for ES. 7:30, you have your stop hunt here. NQ is making lower highs, right? ES is taking out the high here, and then it breaks market structural to the downside. Okay, so far we have a bearish SMT shifting structure right here, right? This is after true open as well. 7:30 is right here. Any stop hunts above true opens are considered Judas, so I'm gonna stick to that theory. And if that's the case, I will be looking at the new week opening gap right here. And within the vicinity, that's going to be these two sell stops. And let's use the fibs. If this high is going to be, it's going to remain intact, we have 2.5 London's low. Okay. Further extending, we would have um, Monday's afternoon sessions low. Okay. Alright, new week opening gap. Let me just highlight that. Alright, so the time now it's 9:22. It's gonna be true open for the micro sessions. 9:22 right here. So what I'm anticipating is that because we have a expansion in Q1, we're gonna have some sideways action in Q2 and maybe some further chopping down, and then it's gonna reverse back up in Q3, taking out some stops in Q2, and then it's gonna roll down. if this is going to be bearish. And right here we have a CB forming. I want to see it form, and that's going to be reached into in Q3. Okay, that is my anticipation. But of course, if the CB doesn't form, then I have nothing. Okay, let's see. Okay, we have a breaker here, high, low, higher high, and we have a BPR as well. Right, so over here we have no CB. Okay, the nearest CB that I can find and I can see, it's this one right here. Okay, so right now what I am waiting for is two things. If price is able to stay above this BPR, I'm going long. And if price is trading below this BPR, I'm going short in Q3 and Q4. Okay, so right now I'm just gonna let the price play out. Alright, here we have quite an interesting 9:30 open. I'm just gonna double check the volume again. I'm just gonna double check the volume again. So we have reached into this fair value gap right here. Okay. Right, so take a look at this BPR right here. And we have a bullish order block right here as well. If this closes as a down close candle, the next candle forms trading above this candle, that would be proportional order block. Okay, but I want to see it to be a down close candle before confirming that as proportion. So I believe it's definitely gonna run the London's high, but I want to see if it's able to run this high. So far, Nasdaq it's the most bearish indices here. So the fact that 9:30 it's making this run here higher, heading into 9:45, which we have the news. I think this stop here it's gonna be attacked later on. Okay. So I think of it like this. I think of it as 9:30 generating lots of retails who wants to long, right? They're going to put their stop losses here, and then it's going to trade to the upside. ICT has mentioned this before, right? So any move from 9:30 to 9:45, and usually you want to fade that move, especially if it's against your higher time frame bias, right? But I want to see if that's the case. All right, I need to see. I mean, if that's the case, I'm waiting to see a shift in market structure before entering any positions. Okay, to validate that this is a fake move. Okay, right. So this candle did not close as a down close candle. So right now I only have this as the breaker to work with, and in the vicinity we have the consequent encroachment of this wick here. Okay, so any price trading below, I mean, as long as, how do I put this in words? If price starts to trade below the consequent encroachment of this wick here, then I would anticipate bearishness. And when in that case, I'm looking for this lows here and this lows. I mean, this low as well. So we ran out London's high during Q2. Okay, so Nasdaq is catching up to the other two indices, right? So performing like a six sister theory, six sister concept. So from the last swing low to swing high right here, right, we have 2.5. If price can close above 2.5, then I think we are going to reach into this daily fair value gap. If price is unable to do so, obviously those are next. Okay, if you take the afternoon session, it's the same here, right at 2.5. The high, I mean, the high comes in right at about 14838, 14838.5. Okay, so I'm gonna monitor these two projections here. To be extremely safe, I think I'm gonna lean on this projection. Okay. Right in about 2 minutes, we're gonna have the rate folder news driver. So we shall see that as distribution due to the fact that we have already ran buy stops during 9:30 to 9:45, which is Q2 of the micro session. So let's take a look at the 4 take a look at the 4-hour candle. Okay, so 4-hour candle right here. Okay, you have this right here. As long as price is not closing above this wick, I mean the consequent encroachment of this wick here, I believe we're gonna run down here. This would be a 4-hour fair value gap and bullish order block. Okay, so let me just draw that line here. 14826.25, 26.25. C of H4 wick. Style 2. Right? So with this closing right here, right, this candle's close, I am pretty confident that we are going to run the lows now. So let's zoom in into the 1-minute time frame. Okay, I'm going to treat this as proportion order block if this candle can close below this candle here. Okay. This right there, the down close candle here, this is your breaker. Right, and I'm going to see if there's any fair value gaps forming within this area. Oops. Trading settings, orders. Right. So there's a fair value gap here. I don't want to see any price closing above the mean threshold of this candle here. Right here. 14813.25. Okay. One 3.25. Okay. And I am gonna target this low here, London's low. Okay. So from here, you can use the projections. This 1 to 1 5. You can look for 2. 2 is right where Asia's low is. Okay. Maybe I'm just gonna look for this low here. Asia's low. I want the move to be completed by 10:07. So this is my deadline. Okay, so once this low is closed below, I'm gonna move my stop loss here. I'm expecting low resistance liquidity run towards the downside. I want to see speed below this low. Okay, and especially right here because we have a new week opening gap. Would like to see it run through right here. Okay, I want to see speed below here. Okay, so right now I'm gonna move my stops to just slightly above this fair value gap. Okay, it doesn't need to come back up again. And I want to see continuous bearish order flow, which means I want to see green candles traded through. Okay. At any instance I do not get that, I'm gonna cut my position as well. Due to the fact that it has already taken out this low here, and let's take a look at the other two averages. ES is unwilling to do so. Okay. So I do not like the fact that this up close candle is getting traded through. Any closing price above this down close candle, I'm gonna cut my position as well. Right now it's 9:52. I would like to see price run in my direction, and if it does not, then I am probably wrong. And if that's the case, I can use this as inversion fair value gap for the daily fair value gap above. Okay. So right here on the 5 minutes, let's take a look at the stop loss. It's here. Alright, so any closing price above this candle here, I'm gonna cut my position. It has to be above this high. Okay, so it's right on it. Let's see. It's right on this high, is it? The high it's 14796. Closing price, it's 14796.25. High, so one tick above it. So it has to run right now. Big down close candles right now, okay? If I don't see that, I'm gonna come in position as well once the swing high forms here. I don't want to see this. I don't want to see price getting supported by this down close candle here. Okay, we'd like to see price trade through the mean threshold right here, 1472.75. On a closing basis, yeah. Right, so on the 5 minutes we have a almost a immediate rebalance. So I'm expecting speed. Okay, let's see this high here. So it's technically this high. Five minutes. Okay. Right, I'm watching ES. If ES is closing a 5 minutes candle above its CB, then I'm probably wrong. Right, so right here. So right now I'm watching to see this become a inversion fair value gap. It has to close above though. Right, so any price below here, I'm gonna enter my shorts again. Right, look at this CB here. Okay. Any closing price above, yeah. Right, closing right on it. Stops here. Targets would be here. So you would have SMTs on the lows here, shift in market structure right here. If a fair value gap forms here, I'm gonna enter a limit order here as well. I'm gonna save the best entry right here if it ever drops back down. Okay. And in this scenario, that is gonna be a Q4 distribution. And we are closing in on that 4 hours. Right, the 4 hours closing right one tick above the consequent encroachment here. Buy one. So stop. So here, I don't want to see the inversion fair value get traded through. In that case, I'll just have to do it on the go. Cancel order. Sell stop here. 2. Cancel order here. Buy stop 1. Sell limit, sorry. So let's see. So it's coming right back down that old 5 minutes CB. So right here, the small little CB here. Okay, so no closing price below this CB. Okay, any closing price below here, I need to cut. $30 more seconds. Alright, we have this BPR right here. This small tiny BPR. Okay, so closing below here, cutting my losses. Now I want to see it. Now I'm gonna wait for Q4, okay, because I have took 2 losses here within Q3. if this fair value gap it's utilized to take out this low, then I'm gonna go short again. Okay, that's the plan. We have a fair value gap here, reached all the way inside. Okay, right. So because this candle has closed within this CB, the next two candles, I would much prefer to see it go lower if it's indeed bearish. Right, when goes lower meaning displacement away from this fair value gap. So this right here, it's not really good for bad. I mean, if I'm short here. Okay, so one more fair value gap. That would be the one that I'm gonna buy. My stops would be this down close candle here. Just one tick below. Oops. I wanted to buy one, not five. Okay, so this is going to be the last um, trade for this entire session. If this fails, which means 3 trades in a row, I'm gonna call it quits for today. Measure it. I need to see displacement on the next 2 candles away from this BC here. If it's indeed gonna run higher. Alright, so by this candle, I would like to see displacement away from this BC. If I don't get that, I am most probably wrong. Alright, so there you go. So 3 trades in a row, low probability day. And right now I'm gonna cut the stream here. I'll be back on the next one. Alright? And I'll see you in the next session.